Good day, viewers. Welcome once again to another session of Art of Project Management. Myself, Sharath here, and as indicated, we will be discussing today the topic, an important topic, earned value analysis. Hope all of you are getting good and you are staying safe and healthy. Let us quickly start the session, that is earned value analysis. So here, as the name indicates, the topic for today's session is earned value analysis, an important topic related to the project management institute. If you are dealing with any of the project management divisions, definitely this is one thing which you should be knowing about. So earned value analysis is a key technique used by every individual who is associated with a PMO. So let's see today in detail what each of these things are. So the scope of today's session is we will be learning what earned value analysis is, why do we need the earned value analysis, and how do I do it. I know it's going to be a big session, so I hope it's going to entertain you throughout. So let's start and see what earned value analysis is going to do to our life. So let us analyze today's situation first. I mean, when we are talking about today's situation, I'm talking about the projects. So right now we can see that there are many projects happening all around the world. You can see that every day you can come up with the news as construction project companies saying that we received this project, we are going to do this projects, and all the days we are coming up and seeing many news of projects. So projects is not something new. It's happening every time. I'm not talking about the mega structure projects or big projects. Even there are small projects. So this projects is everywhere. And what happens when we are doing with the projects? As we studied in the first session itself, a project has got limitations. It has got constraints. So we need to have an accurate and consistent status information so that we get the correct updates about the projects. This is important thing. So just give me 1 minute. Everything is going fine. Just double check that. Okay, so this is what the situation is. And when you see the things, you can see that when you deal a project, it's not just single project you will come across. Like for example, if you started a construction of a project, you may have a number of projects along happening with the main project as a sub project or as a part project. Say for example, if we take a simple project like metro projects, Dubai Metro, whatever metro we takes, you can see that the metro projects is running for a long distance. So what happens? It goes over the buildings, it goes nearby the buildings, it goes over the roads. So sometimes reworks may happen to these structures. So because of this project, metro project, there are having n number of numerous other projects which has to be associated with this project so that this project can be completed as per the scope. So when you start a project, you can see that it's a chain of projects happening around. This is how it works. So of course, we all know projects will have a number of WBS. It has got virtual offices. You can't assume all the people's over here in one place to execute these projects. You have professionals all over the world working in a virtual offices, in the team meetings, to ensure that the proper designing is done, proper things are implemented at the various stages. And we can also see, since the project is not executed by one single company, a diversity of platform in which a diversity of technology is implemented. So overall, if you are looking into a project or if you are going through a project, you can see that it's not a single project. There are lots of activities with lots of different peoples doing it in a different way, and you have to coordinate all these things. Guess what? You have to complete the project on time according to the specifications. and as per the budget schedules. So this is a big task for us. So this is what the situation is. And to make it worse, let's see the numerics or analysis which we get from the studies. It says almost 70% of the projects are either over the budget or behind the schedule. I don't want to pinpoint any project, so I'm not giving an examples, but if you look around, you can see that many projects which were meant to complete 2 years before, they are still going on. Which were planned to complete at a lower budget is now almost, as indicated, 189% of their initial budget. So this is according to the studies showing that almost 52% of the projects which now being executed are getting completed on an 189% of initial cost. Think about it. So yes, we do have a room for improvement. We have to improve the situation. We have to make sure that the way we are doing the projects, it has to be improved. And after a huge investment of time and money, these are never going to simply, like, it's not taken for granted. And what if happens if they are never simply completed also? These are the situations which we need to improvise. So to answer all these questions, we have a technique. What's the technique? You should get the exact details of what the project is or how the project is going. That is, you should have the complete detail of the percentage completion in the sense of budget spent, work done, and the time elapsed. And these three constraints are very important. Why they are important? Because a project is successful when these three constraints are fulfilled. That is the time constraint, scope constraint, and the schedule constraint. So when you get the complete details, you can get through the complete data. You can have a thorough check on how the things are going on, what we are lacking out, what was expected, everything. We will get the accurate. Once we get the accurate data, we can improvise our situation. So yes, when you look outside, you have plenty of opportunities. It's not like, yes, all the projects are going in 100% success manner. No. See, yesterday I was watching in a sessions, like I was amused by even a cook, a person, a chef who is working in a hotel. He himself was taking according to the plans, like 9:30 I will make this thing, and by 10:30 it will be set. Yes, everything is there. So the planning, the data accuracy is very important. So that's what I said. It's not like, okay, every projects are going 100% success and you don't have a role. Yes, we do have a role. We can make the projects much better. Yes, of course we can. So these are the things which we need to do. And there comes the earned value analysis. So as I said, earned value analysis is not a new topic or a new thing to those who are already working in project management field. For others, yes, it may give some ideas, but let me improvise your knowledge on those things. So what is earned value analysis? It's nothing but other than an industrial standard. It's an industrial standard. So what's the industrial standard for? Yes, it is used to measure the project's progress, forecast its completion dates, and final cost. Also, it provides the schedule and budget variances throughout the way. This is what earned value does. So it's an industrial standard defined by the industrial professionals. How we are defining it? Yes, we will come to that. So it gives you the absolute values, absolute measurements, so that, as I said, you can come up with the solutions to improvise your project activities. And the best part is that earned value analysis integrates the three measurements. That is the time, cost, and scope. It not only integrates these three measurements, but also provides a consistent numerical indicators which way you can evaluate and compare the project. This is what it does. It not only integrates these terms, but it gives you the actual report of what the project is going through. So this is something very much welcome at the situations. As study already showed that almost 70% of the projects are not completed on time according to the budget. So yes, earned value analysis has very significant role in helping to identify things. It helps us to identify things. I am not saying that once you implement the earned value analysis, everything is going to okay. Once you implement the earned value analysis to your projects, what happens? It's an indicator. It's an industrial standard which elevates the accuracy of project's data. This is what it does. So this is an opportunity for everyone. And what's the most important is that it will provide you with the scenarios, like it will give you exact details where according to you are on the schedule, how much budget has been spent, and what's the work accomplished. This is what you will get once you implement the earned value analysis. So I'm saying why we are implementing earned value analysis. So I said it's an industrial techniques which helps you to rectify the lags in your activities by helping you understand where you are on the schedule, how much budget you have spent, and what is the work accomplished. Yes, this is more than enough for everyone. As a bonus, what it does, it also integrates, that's what we discussed. It also integrates the three constraints: the cost, schedule, and work. This might be a little confusing, so let me help you. So you can see that the activities happening in the projects will be according to the durations, like it may be like 10 days, 5 hours, 1 month, just like that. How will you report the cost? It will be reported like, okay, it has been consuming this much cost, this much US dollars, or this much amount has been consumed. So we have two constraints now. One is for the time, one is for the cost. Then what it will say? 75% is completed, only 40% of the project is completed. So this is according to the percentiles. So we are having different set of constraints, different set of what you call units to report with. So if someone asks you what's the project status, okay, I have done 10 hours of work with consuming this much US dollars and this much percent of work is completed. Is it going to be good? No, of course not. So what does earned value does? It integrates all these three things so that when you present something, you can say that, okay, boss, this is what it is completed. In a single constraint or in a single constant, you are saying that this is the project status, which is always welcome. When you get a single figure for all these things, just like you are getting how well he performed. He's 90 plus. That's great. This is what earned value does. So how it is doing? Here we are taking the work earned into credits. That is, work is earned or credited as it is completed. We are evaluating according to the completions. This is what earned value does. So once you get a report, it will not be like 100 units spread over the entire report. It will be just one unit giving you the precise value, how you are performing on these projects. So what happens as a program manager? Okay, he can easily come up with, he can make sure that, okay, I'm concentrating a little more on this projects because its performance indices is less. He can make sure by seeing this particular indices saying that, okay, this is going good. So I can concentrate much more on that. So this helps the program managers and the portfolio managers a relief or an early siren saying that, okay, this is how it's going. Also, earned value is needed just because, as I said, we are having different measures of progress for different types of tasks. This is also important. Not all tasks are completed according to the durations. Some are according to the units, like say for example flooring. 100 square meters of flooring. This is how you measure the progress. So you again have a new term, new unit, square meter. So when you report individually, it's not going to be, it's going to be a bulky report you're going to present with. Also, as I said, we also need to roll up the progress of many tasks into overall project status. Like when you deal with a project, you have n number of tasks happening, and this task, n number of tasks, believe me or not, are having another n number of units or variables in it. So this n number of variables and n number of units is going to make your reports lengthier and lengthier. So you need to roll this all the activities update into a single thing. This is what earned value does. And needs a uniform unit of measures. This is just summarizing it. Dollars or work hours, whatever it may be, it should be represented in a single unit. So what the scenario is that earned value analysis is an important thing. We should know it. We should have it. Why? Because we have to improve it. Also, these are the various set of reasons. So there is a tremendous implementation opportunity for the earned value analysis. It also gives you early warnings so that you can come up with the corrective actions. Suppose you are getting the information, okay, you are going very over the budget, we are exceeding the budget, which means you can come up with measures to reduce the budgets. If you are taking too much of time, which in the time schedule, time interval given to you is being consumed much faster way, means you can come up with solutions. Because we all know bad news does not age well. And sometimes if you get an early signals, we still have time to recover. So it's not good to keep on going with a bad news or bad situation. So we have to recover it. So it is better as soon as we get the result, like it's not going to be good, means better to come up with a proactive steps, at least reactive steps to overcome the situation. And of course, it also gives you the time to make the request at time for the extra funds by providing the apt conditions updates. So this is what earned value does. And one more key reason is why the earned value analysis is so important. Right now I have been discussing lots of things, like it's an industrial standards, it integrates all the different units, it is summarizing the various updates or various progresses into single unit, it is giving you early warning. Yes, these are our benefits. And one major importance or one major reason is that there are laws. So these are the laws as per the US standards, but every nation has got its own standards. If you are talking about UAE, it has got its own land standards, its own rules to protect the contractors, the vendors and clients. So every nation or every part of the country, you have laws. So it is required by the law that every project management system should have a standard. It's as based on ANSI standards to measure the cost, schedule and performance goals. If you are a project management company, you should have this particular technique. You should have a technique to measure the progress of your project. You should not have just a technique. It should be a standardized one based on ANSI EIA standard 748. This is mandatory. So according to the rules and regulations of the nations and of the various countries, there should be some measurement so that you can say that, okay, the project progress is this much or the cost consumed is this much. This is what the amount spent for the project. You should be able to say all these things. How you will be able to say this? With a proven technology or proven technique. And hence earned value analysis. So these are the some reasons which we are trying to implement earned value analysis. So you might be thinking, okay, he has been telling what we are discussing is earned value analysis, earned value analysis. So what is this stuff actually? How is it working? Yes, we are into it. We will see into it. So actually this is not a new situation or a new technology or a new technique. It was there in around from the 60s itself. Like what it is, it's nothing but cost schedule control system. It's commonly called as CBRS CSE. Cost schedule control systems criteria. This is what it is. As the name indicates, as you all can see from the names itself, it's controlling the cost and schedule of your projects. This is what earned value does. So finally we are into it. So earned value analysis is giving a control over the cost and schedule of your projects. This is what earned value analysis what it does. So little reforms was done apart from what it was mentioned in cost schedule control system criteria. A slight modification, some modifications were done, and it was implemented as earned value analysis. So examples of informal earned value analysis, this is what it is. 30% of time used, 30% of money spent, 30% of work done. I must be okay. Yes. So it gives a comparison between the budgeted and actual. It's comparing how much percentage of work was planned, how much percentage of work is done. It's comparing how much percentage of cost is spent, how much percentage was planned. So it's comparing. This is what it does. This is what earned value does. And this is how we will mix the projection. So we will say that, okay, to complete the project, it will take this much time and this much cost, and according to the specified scope. And you can plot against this. So if you want to complete the project in a successful manner, you can come up with this technique, and you can ensure that whenever there is a deviation, it gives an opportunity, early warning, saying that, okay boss, go and do some preventive or corrective action so that you are back on track. This is what earned value analysis does. So to dive deeper, let's look how it is being implemented. To implement the earned value analysis, the first thing we have to do is that we have to make the project in a proper compartmentalized method. That is, a proper work breakdown structure should be there in the projects to implement the earned value analysis. Why you have a proper breakdown structure? So really, if my students ask, I will ask them, how you are going to eat this elephant? Obviously, you are going to eat this in a small bit. No offenses. I am just giving an example. So to save it, like if you think you are going to eat an elephant, you cannot take it all in one. You have to take it by pieces. Anyway, I'm not responsible for any of the elephant hunts hereafter, okay? Okay, coming back. So this is what it is. When you are dealing with the big projects, you have to ensure that the projects is being designed or is being properly divided into structure called as WBS. And each WBS should be deliverable oriented. So what is work breakdown structure? It's nothing. It's a meaningful division of your projects into different parts. Simple example. If I am going to construct a home or a villa, I will divide the project as site works, foundations, ground floor, first floor, MEP works, architecture works, landscaping works. That's it. So you can see how easily it has been, how precisely it has been divided. So work not in the WBS is out of scope. This is how it works. Each descending level represents more detail. Say, as I said, ground floor and first floor. So in ground floor, you can have another subdivisions. Called as in ground floor itself, you can implement the civil works, MEP works, and the interior works. You can implement that also. So structure by structure. So what happens when you have a proper WBS design, the projects become much more easier to evaluate with. So it gives you a proper schedule or proper structure to implement the earned value analysis. So let's see an example how we are doing it. So suppose if you want to serve a pizza to customer, what are the things you need? This is our project. I need to serve the pizza to a customer. So you need to provide a place for them to eat. You need to have some place to cook. You need to have a place for you to serve the customers and other amenities like fresh rooms, waiting areas, kids playrooms, parkings, etc., etc. So at the end of the day, my project is nothing but a pizza factory. So I divided it into small parts, segments, like a place so that they can eat, a place to cook the food, a place to serve the customers, and other amenities. And this is what I call detailing. Like, say for example, look into the cook the food. You have an area to make the dough, you have an area to cook the sauce, and you have an area to build the pizza. So this is how you define the structure. This is how you define the work breakdown structure. So here it was an example of a pizza, but in real-time examples, the pizza is much more hotter. So yes, how do you get this WBS structure? Yes, it's through the meetings, it's through the expert judgments, it's through the lessons learned from the previous projects. You are coming with the proper WBS structures. Recently, when we are working with an oil company, there was a project and they find a method, easier method to make the hull. Earlier, they used to bring all these materials and assemble it in over the well. But nowadays, they have a more advanced technique. So from the lessons learned, we may come up with more in techniques or more solutions or more better ideas so that you can come up with an exact solution of division of the projects. This is how it works. So yes, this is how you will define the work breakdown structure. Once you have a proper narratives, what you will define is that you will have a proper scope of work, you will have the total cost and time frame for the completions. Because I have said that this and this comes under this, I will be properly listing out the cost, time and the scope of the work. This is how it works. And a perfect WBS will make you accountable for everything. So a proper control account plans can be initiated. This is what the earned value analysis does. This is how you will implement the earned value analysis. As I said, WBS will play enough things. So as I said, we were studying the topic with earned value analysis. We came to know what's the importance of earned value analysis. We know why it is required, and we also studied how to implement the earned value analysis using the WBS. I think it's time we move to real thing. That's what's earned value analysis. So here are some new terms which you need to know before we are diving deep to earned value analysis. That is, the budgeted cost of work schedule is BCWS, which is also called as plant value. Budgeted cost of work scheduled, plant value. HCWP, which is called as actual cost of work performed, which is also termed as actual value. Then we have the third term, that is BCWP, which is budgeted cost of work performed, the earned value. I know these terms may be new to you. Sometimes you might have heard it already, but these three terms defines the earned value, or these are the key words which will help us to derive more of the earned value. So let's study one by one deep. So what is BCWS? The name indicates everything. Budgeted cost of work scheduled. I'm not talking about the actual cost. I'm talking about the planned cost of the total amount of work scheduled. This has to be highlighted. Planned cost for the scheduled work. That's why it's planned value. So suppose if I am to execute something, this will be the amount. This is what the planned value is all about, or BCWS is all about. So when you plot a graph, this is how it will be. On January 3rd, if I start my project, this is going to be the cost, that is from 0. And when it ends at December 3rd, it's going to be around 10,000 or 1 lakh, 1 million something. So this is the budgeted cost of work schedule. This is my plan. Then we have the actual thing, that is actual cost of work performed. The cost incurred to accomplish the work that has been done to the date. This is what actual cost of work performed is all about, or the actual value. That is the amount spent by you to accomplish the work that has been done. What you have spent for the work you have done. This is what actual cost of work performance is all about, or the actual value is all about. The money spent by you for the work, for the action completed. This is what actual cost of work performed is. And here is the graph. So I have run a graph which is going slightly over the budget, and it shows that actually it was planned 49,000, but we are going as per 56,000. So it's actually slightly over the budget. And here comes the most important definition and the essential one, which defines the further things. That is the budgeted cost of work performed, or the earned value. So here I am talking about not the actual cost. Here I am talking about the planned cost to complete the work that has been done. So the budget cost of work planned was something different. Actual cost of work performed was something different. Here it is totally different. So what it is, I had done some work. I'm talking about the amount which I planned to complete that work. I'm not talking about the amount which took to complete that work. I'm talking about the amount which I planned. So I just simple example. I went for a supermarket to purchase a laptop. My amount was around 4,000 dirhams for this laptop. This is what my plan. But when I purchased it, it cost me 4,100. So 4,100 is the actual amount. 4,000 is the planned amount, and earned amount is again 4,000 itself, because 1,100 dirhams was paid extra. That's an actual thing. If I purchased the mouse only or the keyboard alone, I would have earned maybe 100 dirhams. I know it's little tricky, but still. Just understand that budgeted cost of work performed is the planned amount of the work which has been completed. One more simple example which makes you a little more clear. I am about to floor my 4 rooms. I am about to do my flooring for my 4 rooms, which are of equal area. And this 4 rooms has to be completed in 4 days with a cost of 4,000 dirhams, which means each day I have to complete 1 room with 1,000 dirhams expense. This is what my plan is. So 4 rooms has to be done in 4 days with a 4,000 dirhams. So if one day if I completed the first room as per the defined cost, what I get at the day 1, I will complete first room flooring with 1,000 dirhams spent. Suppose in the second day the work was not done properly. I have completed a half the work. What happened? And I paid him the full amount. Means day 2, half the room was completed. So my earned value is not 2 rooms complete flooring, 1.5 rooms flooring. This is taken into account. But the cost spent is for 2 rooms. So this is how it is defining. So this is budgeted cost of work performed, and here is the graph which is against the earned planned value. So the whole story will be like this. I have planned to complete the work for around 55,000, but according to the cost wise I took almost 56,000 to account, but comparing to my plan, that is the earned, whatever the product I have earned is only 49,000. That is, percentage of work completed is slightly less than what I have imagined, but I have overspent also. So you are getting these three different values irrespective of the whole story, like whole the units which are used in the whole story. You are just getting these three variables. You are compromising, you are consolidating the entire report into just three variables, that is actual value, plant value, and the earned value. So the benefit is that when you put up the report, it can be easily derived. What can be easily derived? The schedule variances and the cost variances. So what is the schedule variances? It means how much you are different getting changed, deviated from the schedule. That is earned value minus plant value. Earned is what you have gained and plant is what you have planned. So in day 2 I have planned 2 rooms, but I have completed only 1.5 rooms, which means you are having a negative value because earned is lesser than planned, which means you are behind the schedule. This is how easily you are getting back to the track. Or this is the thing which I told you, like it gives you an indicator at the end of day 2 itself saying that boss, you are behind the schedule. Come up with a preventive measures. Cost variances, earned value minus actual value. You have completed 1.5 rooms, which is about $1,500, but you give him $2,000 at the end of day 2, which means again $500. We are running over the budget. You have to come up with the solutions. So these are the derivatives you are getting. Also in the cost indices methods, you are getting the same thing. So what does it gives you? The value of earned value is that it gives you the proper reporting of the schedules, cost, and it also helps you to forecast things. This is what the importance of the earned value is all about. The value of the earned value is that you are getting the perfect report on where you are on the schedule, as per the schedule, how you are doing according to the cost status, and you can forecast the things. Okay, if this is my rate of completing, this will not be by net result. So it can be easily implemented. So the next question is how I am going to do this and all this stuff. It's not easy for us to take all the data from a big project and make these tables for all the activities and do all those things. It's not possible. We have to have an earned value management system that is working with the principles of earned value analysis. You should have a system which upholds the directives or the principles of earned value analysis. So where do you get this system? You can build it, but make sure that it is as per the standards ANSI EIA standard 748. Unfortunately, this system or this standard doesn't identify any approved systems. Like it says that use this particular software. This is what it should be. Like it should give it has given as you can go through this standards. It provides the complete guidelines on the organizations, how the planning and scheduling and budgeting is all about, accounting consideration, analysis and management reports, revision and data maintenance. All these things are mentioned in this particular standards. I'm not diving deep into that because we have a limited scope, that is on to value analysis. So what it says is that it has to make sure that you will ensure all these things is that. But what we can do is that we can suggest some softwares or some programs which upholds these standards, like Oracle Primavera, Microsoft Projects, Microsoft Excel. It could be simple as this. So you can use these softwares or use these programs to implement these techniques within your project. This ensures that the technology or this technique is being implemented in the projects. And guess what? You don't have to do any of these things. Automatically you will get the update. Okay, this is the progress, this is the plan, and this is the actual. So this is what the net result is. As I said, earned value analysis will be very helpful to make sure that you are coming up with the proactive steps or reactive steps to ensure the project is completed on time according to the specifications and within the budget. Requirements of earned value analysis, to summarize with, you have to have a proper WBS design, proper baseline budget, proper baseline schedule, work measurement by the control accounts, and a good project management practices. This is what it is required for the implementation of earned value analysis. Of course, it has got the shortcomings also. So what is the shortcome? Quantifying the bar or measuring the work progress can be difficult because, as I said, you are coming up with n number of units. The work progress may be according to n number of things. Some may be according to the, like say for example, square meter. Some may be according to the man hours. Some may be according to the consumption of US dollars. Some may be according to this. So the scope is different. So it might be a little difficult, not impossible. It might be a little difficult to quantify, measure the work progress. And time required for the data measurement and the input and manipulation can be considerable. This also vary because we are dealing with a project, but we don't have any other options. But these are the shortcomings which you may have when you implement the earned value analysis. But the best part is that you will be knowing that how earned value analysis will help you to progress, to make sure that you are on the better side when you deal with the projects. It gives a measurable performance. It gives you the forecasting ideas to improvise, to elevate the company standards. It also gives you the proper measures which will not mislead you from the actual thing. The good reason is that, or the best reason to use the earned value analysis or the earned value management system is that it's a good project management practices and as per the OMP requirements. It also can be incorporated into contracts because this, if you are in a contract, you have a limitations, you are under the constraints, and this will help you to ensure that the constraints are achieved as per the scope of work. You are not being pushed too much against the wall with this contract because you have this measurement tool which will say that because of this reason you have the delay, because of this reason, so that you have a point or you have an area where you can put up the claim saying that this was not my mistake, so this has to be rectified. The claim has to be appealed. So that's all for the session now. So to summarize all the things, I have completed the earned value analysis, and I have also given you my best idea or my best knowledge about the earned value system is all about. So in the next session, we will come up with another 2 things. Hope this session was useful to you. And as I said, we were discussing about what earned value analysis is, how it can be used to improvise our daily techniques or implementation procedures in the project management industry, how the opportunities are availed, because how, if by studying all these techniques, what's the opportunity for us to improve. And this was all the things which we were discussing through the session which we conducted today. So we request all of you to stay safe and stay educated. So until next session, it's a goodbye. Take care.